Welcome to the Infinite Podcast with Øystein Rabbe and Ulf Tønder Flittig. This is a podcast about the big mysteries of life. Who are we? And can we ever figure it out? We're two spiritual dudes on the search for meaning. We're here to figure it all out and share it with you. In this podcast, our intention is to create room for the good conversation. Conversations going deep into the infinite questions of who we are. Putting light on parts of ourselves that need our attention in order to make us whole and complete as a human being. We want to encourage you to believe in who you are and create your best life. In this episode, we're at Body Mind Spirit Festival in Norway. We meet with Sajady, and we just had a group session with him before we recorded this podcast. I can tell you this, it was so powerful and so valuable. Life-changing for me and for Ulf. We talk about his work as a healer and spiritual teacher. We also go deep into religion and actually how atheism is also a religion. And where this all is coming from and how to heal it within yourself. I'm so grateful to have met with Sajady in this podcast. I'm looking forward to share it with you. Enjoy.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm still trying to get back into my body, I guess, or process. Yeah. So we just had a session.
Mm-hmm.
What would you call this session that we just?
Well, the actual name is called the Industrial Group Healing, and I know it sounds kind of not spiritual, but it's very powerful. So it's industrial strength. Right?
Yeah,
so that's
for
why.
sure. Yeah.
So and what that is that I get you in a small group, anywhere from like 4 or 5 to 13, and then I work on you at a group level, right, getting you into the deeper states. And again, it's different than meditation or hypnosis or NLP or anything of that. It's actually quite the opposite, although you might feel the same. Well, actually, you don't even feel the same, do you?
No.
It's a different thing than your normal meditation.
Yeah.
But as I get you into those deeper states, you get to start to realize, because you're so present, you get to start to realize who you really are, right? Or your full potentiality compared to who you think you are, right?
Yeah.
All the distortions, the lack and all those things. And then it makes my job easier. So while you're in that state, I go in through the 2 near-death experiences that I've had. I go in and then help you reset yourself to your higher standard that you are, your full potentiality. That makes sense? It's very efficient, very scientific. And again, I call it scientific because it's duplicatable.
Yeah.
It's over and over and over again. It's not about feeling good or, being good or being wrong. It's nothing like that. It's just, I just see basic like frequencies or patterns in people. You change your pattern or you change your frequency, you start to change your life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But how is it like different in the sense? Because I remember I've heard your podcast.
Okay.
And I've also listened like to some of the healings that is there, or what you call it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And from the first time I found you, I realized this is very different. This is a completely different way.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I don't understand how it is different in the sense like if I'm doing healing work, I kind of like open up the energy and just allow things to flow. Like so that's my approach to it.
Sure.
And then I just trust that the nature will adjust like it should.
Yeah.
So how is this different from just allowing energy to?
That's there.
Yeah.
Well, one, you felt the difference.
Yeah.
So obviously it's different. So let me explain the details. So what happens is that let me give you an example. Say you have a weed in the garden, right? Okay? You see this weed in your garden of life. Right? So what we go is like, oh, I see this weed in my garden of life. I'm going to pull it out. Right? I'm going to pull it out, and we pull it out. But then in a very short time, it repeats itself. Right? It grows back even stronger.
Back up,
Right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So that's the surface level stuff. So to equate it to something physical. So at the surface level stuff, we do, like exercise, we do surgery, we do medications, we do foods, we eat the right foods. Right, chiropractics, whatever it is, right? The physical things that we do. Right? However, again, just like that weed, if you didn't go deeper, it'll keep repeating itself. Right? Even if you had surgery, you'd probably have of similar issues later on. So what you do, and again, there's each level is accurate for its level.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I'm not saying not eating the right foods or anything like that is wrong. It's just that it doesn't go to a deeper level. So and then you're at, say, the middle level, or I call level, the second stage. Okay? And the second stage would be, like energy medicines. This is where chakra happens. This is where what you do, the energy frequencies of the body. Psychic abilities, right? Intuition, things of that nature. Spirits, presences, entities, things of that nature exist. So it's still in the physical layer. So in that weed example, so instead of just pulling it out, now you dug about, maybe a couple inches into the ground, and then you cut it off at that level, right? But that weed, the root of that weed is much, much deeper. Right? So we have to go deeper. So, and then in the spiritual realm, so you have the first layer, the physical layer, the frequency layer, or I call it the physical energy frequencies. Okay, like your body, the creation of your body is at this level, and then there's like level 3 or 4, where is more of a bridge layer. So this is where you get into transition from the physical into more the quantum level, or the spirit level, if you want to call it. And that's the 5th layer. So, and that's the level I work at. That's your blueprint. That's how I call it your frequency signature. That's how your life is created. Okay, at that level. So now we're at a level, back to that weed example, you're going down to the core level of where that tree, where that weed is, right? The base level. And I'm helping you, say, pull it out at the base level. So, and that's where that weed doesn't grow back. Does that make sense to you? So that's the difference. So it's a very, very deep level. Again, I call it your source code, or your core level. And most of those frequencies that we have, it's not really yours. So just think how deep the root of that weed is, right? You've adopted a lot of things from, your mom, for example, right? And then she probably adopted from her mom, and so on and so on. So if you look back, you're the latest version of your family, the latest update, if that makes sense to you, right? Of your family. So you have to literally go all the way back and then delete at that deeper level. And again, most of the things that we do, energy medicines or anything like that, not that there's anything wrong with it, it just doesn't go to a deeper level. That's all.
Yeah, humans do tend to treat things on the surface level.
Exactly.
And are not too keen on sort of diving in.
Right.
Because it's more uncomfortable, I guess, because it's...
Or they just don't know.
Or they
just see that this is the world and there's nothing beyond it.
Yes, yes.
Like in the medical community, back before they had the magnifying glass or the microscope, they never thought of organisms. They never thought of, germs, right, or bacteria, because they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So they couldn't figure out. It's like, what the hell? Why are all these patients dying? What is this? And then the invention of the microscope, they go, oh my God, there's a whole new world
there.
That's dictating what happens in the physical world. So just go beyond, say, the quantum world. Even Albert Einstein, once he discovered the quantum world, it's like, oh my God, the physics of the quantum world is so very different than what happens in
the physical world.
Yeah. So this goes even deeper than, say, the quantum frequencies.
But so you sort of had this insight with 2 near-death experiences.
Yes.
How would you describe your life prior to that? Like, where were you at?
So prior to it, I would say I was always tailored. So when I had my near-death experiences, because having a near-death experience, I mean, in the U.S. it happens like thousands of times a day.
Yeah.
Right. So why am I very different, basically? Right. So I was tailored or groomed to have these near-death experiences, which allowed me to, say, catapult to higher, say, levels of awareness. Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give you an example too. But so before, I was always like searching for an answer on what equates to, say, a happy life, a solid life. Right.
Yeah.
So, I did the religious thing. And again, there's nothing wrong with religion, but to a certain level, it works, right? But does it go to the deeper levels? It might not work that much. And then there's a lot of incongruencies in religion. So again, there's nothing wrong with any religion or any spiritual, say, path, but we just need to clarify it and go deeper. So, and that's what I did. So it didn't, it left a lot of questions unanswered for me. So I decided to go on, say, the financial path, right? You become really, really successful.
Yeah.
Right? And then you'll be happy. You'll be set, right? But nowadays, and even back then, there's a lot of successful people that aren't really happy, right?
Sure.
Hollywood movie stars, you hear that, oh, they committed suicide. It's like, well, you think they had everything. It's like, why the hell did they commit suicide? Right? So that wasn't the key either. And it's like, why doesn't that much success equate to, say, that general sense of being? Right? So the answer came to me after my first near-death experience, which I crushed my jaws. You can listen to the full story at my website, sajady.com.
Yeah.
But so what that was, and you've heard this story before, I'm sure, where you pull away from your body and you get to see your physical form in front of you, right? And most of us obviously don't get to experience like that sense of separation. It's like, oh my God, there's a bigger me. That would be your spirit. So it's like, wow, this is my spirit. And as I realized that this is the real me, although the 1%, as I call it, the physical representation of me, is only like 1% of who we are. So your life existence, what you think you are, is only 1%. Of the reality of who you are. The 99% is like hidden, just like an iceberg. Only the tip shows.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing is on the bottom, right? Your existence. So, and I realized that I'm going, wow, this is amazing. This is the power that we all have. Not just me, but the grandness that we all have. Imagine if you operated from that 99% or at that base level of who you are. Just think how happy you would be. How content you would be, how abundant in any form, at any level you would be, right? We wouldn't have the issues that we have today in today's society, right? We just wouldn't. And that's the way I operate. So it took me the second near-death, though, to really understand the mechanics on how it all works. And by mechanics, it's like the logistics, just like anything. It's like to me, it's like a programming language. So when I scan you or I see you, whether you're in front of me or over the phone or anywhere, I can go, oh, this is what's going on with you. Let's like edit your programming or your blueprint. And then, your life starts to change. And that came after the second near-death, which was a drowning accident. Did all that make sense?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
So.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I've had the pleasure of experiencing your
Yes.
session, and it was. I haven't been to any similar, because this is my first time at this type of venue. But
well, I'm very different.
Yeah, it was very intense.
Yes,
and I felt safe, which I think is like key, right?
That's very key.
It's a trust thing there,
of course.
And like previous, like a couple of years back, I would never have trusted you.
Okay, I can see that.
Like before I had my not near-death experience, but just acknowledging that life is actually here and now.
Bigger, of course.
Bigger, yeah. And I can totally relate to the whole 99%.
Right.
Or even more. It feels like we're just looking at this.
Yeah.
We think insignificant piece of hardware.
Right.
And forgetting that it's got almost infinite potential at the back there.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
But that does involve acknowledging that it actually exists.
Right. You know, the nice thing about what I do is, like, whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not, it doesn't really matter, because we're all really built the same.
Yeah.
You know? So I just bypass all that and just work at your core level. And, you know, as you change things at your core level, you'd be amazed at, like, for the two of you, you'd be amazed at how fast your life changes at the surface level.
Yeah.
So it's like planting another seed in you that very deep, and it just blossoms. You'll see that.
Yeah.
That's very, very efficient in any aspect of your life. You know, physical issues, health issues, finance issues, or relationship issues, whatever you call life, you can change.
Yeah.
So why is it that this kind of work that you do also works in, like, when you have your own podcast and you do these sessions through that podcast?
Yeah.
How is it that the universe works the way that you can actually just record that and it works on the person listening
on the recordings?
to it?
Yeah. So really good question. So the technical aspect of that is that the frequencies are not in the recording. Okay? But what happens is, again, it's beyond meditation or hypnosis or NLP. I transport you back to the time that I did the meditation. Because at the level I work, it's in a timeless space. So literally I help you disconnect from time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as you disconnect from time, you get to reset yourself. So in the recordings, as I disconnect you from time, I take you back to that timeless space, and then that's why it's still as powerful as, you know, a live session, or, you know, one over the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have to know, say, your problems or issues, like in group settings, right? I do a lot of group meditations, or the podcast, like you said. I don't have to know your specific issue to help you, because I'm not the one who heals you or changes you or helps you in any way. I awaken your internal healing, say, abilities.
Yeah.
You know, and as you awaken your own self, your higher self, that 99% that we talked about, looks around and goes, "Wow, I don't know what happened here, but let's set it up straight, right? Let's get rid of the stuff that's not working."
Well, if you deny your 99%, the allowance of the control panel,
Right.
and just say, like, you don't exist, you're not
Right.
you're not a part of the deal, and so you're stuck at 1%.
Right.
And then if you can get some way to bypass that, like you do, you will actually open up.
Of course, and that's what I do. I help you open up.
Yeah.
But again, you can't really deny your 99%.
You could try.
You can't.
I've tried. I did try for quite a while, but
the programs that, say, consist of you cannot be deleted.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like if it was a computer, it's like you're trying to, like, delete the hardware and then still exist. It doesn't work that way.
Well, that's true.
You know, you
Like
try to, like,
volcano,
you might try to block it and go, my past doesn't exist, or, you know, whatever happened to me. But look at all the programs that you think are you, that you're still stuck in. So no matter how, if you deny it or whatever,
it's like you're
still
creating programs to cover up other programs. In a sense.
Exactly. Yeah, and it just, and that's you. That's why you're so solid and you don't feel anything, because it's just like a huge block. It's like, that's my old self. I want to start new. It doesn't work that way. So, and you'll see very soon.
I'm intrigued and scared.
But
And freeing.
And free.
Where do you recommend people to start? Like, one thing is to attend to your things, but
yes.
Where you start if you want to actually start changing your blueprints and become a better version of yourself? Or
so if you want to do anything with me, the podcasts, they're free. There's a lot of free stuff online, you know, YouTube videos, things like that we do. And again, it allows you to, the podcast really allows you to understand the mechanics on what I do, the concepts at a logical level, because it's more logical than most logic that we use here at the surface level, and that helps you at the end, especially from podcasts like 50 on, much more powerful. At the end, you know, you can test run a free meta healing, as I call it, right? Like 5-10 minutes, you can actually feel the frequencies yourself, and if it's right for you, you can delve more into, you know, like the 21-day meditations. where you meditate with me for 21 days. It's really, really powerful. In fact, it's so powerful we had to split it up in two. So the beginner class or the foundational class, and then the accelerated class for those who are more in tune or as they get in tune. You can try that out. It's all on the website. You can have a free, not a free, but a group session. I don't do privates anymore because I'm so busy. Even if it's really beneficial for people who run businesses, because you get the higher version of what you're actually striving for, so your business runs a lot smoother. You get that. Well, that's where ideas come from. Like the next big thing, inventions, things like that come from a higher order of yourself, right? The 99%, not your conscious mind. So it's really good for businesses, obviously for personal as well. But there's tons of things. If you go to Sajady.com, there's just tons of, and I travel the world, so I might be in your area as well.
Yeah. So in your so near death, that's one thing. But we do also experience at one point or another real death.
Real death? Yes.
What happens? What's up with that?
The real death? Well, that's the problem with society. People don't know how to die properly.
Yeah.
Especially in the U.S. I don't know what they do here, but in the U.S., you get old, you get sick, and you're just supposed to say die naturally. But what do? They take you to the hospital and they put you on medications, and then you're literally dead, right?
Yes.
But your body's still alive. So when I see that, so the last bits of memory are encoded in you as you die, and then you recreate yourself whenever you come back, right?
Yeah.
You recreate with those same issues.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So you never let go of those memories. So the proper way to die, and the Egyptians, the Book of the Dead, they would prepare their elders before they died, right? To go, okay, this is life here. There's an afterlife. So you let go of, say, the physical things here, the physical memories, and go back to your natural state. See? So just like we think that this is all that we are, this existence, that gets trapped if you don't get awakened, right?
And then you're stuck.
Yeah. So for you, because I know you have a religious background or from parents and so on like that, from what I'm seeing. Yeah.
It's yes.
Very intense.
Yes.
Yeah. So for you, for that saying in religion where they go, and it does get distorted, but it says if you accept X and put in whatever religion, because all the religions and all the spirits say that, all your sins will be forgiven, right? Basically what they're saying is if you awaken to the point that you realize you're that 99%, you get to realize that all this was, say, a facade, and you can learn from it and awaken from it. Does that make sense too?
Yeah.
So that's an awakened being, and then you cross over. So that's proper death. But again, most people don't know how to die properly.
No.
So.
In a sense, my upbringing was atheist, but in a religious sense.
Okay.
If you get what I'm saying.
Oh,
but
yeah. So atheism is just another form of religion,
or the concept
I had to
of.
say
I know. But I was quite insistent on not being religious, and was very, almost could say anti-religious or an atheist fanatic at that.
Yes. Okay. So, and that goes...
And to the point where there is nothing. I am only 1%.
Right. So, but if you look at your lineage, your parents or downline have been so religious that you would do the opposite.
Yes, this makes...
Does that make sense to you?
I was so angry at religion, and
exactly.
I had
That's where that comes
no
from.
idea why.
Right. So if you're running away from something, and this is what happens, it's like your religion isn't working out, I'm going to run into spirituality or do something spiritual, so I've pushed away. But if you're escaping or removing yourself from something, just remember that's always attached to you.
Yeah.
So you can't get away from it. Yeah. So it magnifies what you're running away from. Yeah. That makes sense to you?
That makes sense. Also, I really like, talking about the weed.
Yeah.
That, for instance, in my case, the religion did not come at my birth.
Exactly.
It predates me.
Yes.
So we have to go deeper.
Yes, you have to go deeper.
And when just by thinking back at my family's history, this makes complete sense.
Right.
But I was unable to see that. Especially when I was so eager to deny the whole thing.
Exactly, because of that anger and all that.
Yeah. There is some anger involved. This is true.
So, no worries. So anyway, so that's why, again, you're into the atheist type deal. But, even atheism is turned into another form of religion. And because you have to deny something.
Yeah, totally.
So at some level, it's like it exists. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So you have to just be zero if you want to be like a true atheist, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just like totally zero on the aspect of God or anything like that, and have no judgment at all if you want to be a true atheist. But most people, again, don't do it the right way. Like they don't do religion properly either.
No, totally.
And since we're on the subject of, again, I don't have any issue with religion or spirituality, but there's a lot of people who do, but they believe in a system that isn't, say, the best for them. Does that make sense to you? But they have faith. They have blind faith.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if I do it better, and they put the blame on them. But so I always say that, whatever religion that you practice, if you're not getting the same results as the Creator, say like, the Christian or Catholic, if you're not getting the same results as, say, Jesus, then you were taught wrong or you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It just plain flat is.
But it becomes an obsession that makes you never willing to be wrong, in the sense that,
of course,
and then you try to just prove it harder that this is true, this is true.
And it's, again, because what I do is just straight out logic. It's like provable. It's like you can do it over and over and over again with different people. Again, that's how accurate it is. And again, religion is too. But again, like I say, I stress it, if you're not getting the same results as a Jesus or a Buddha or a Muhammad, you're doing it wrong. You're just absolutely doing it wrong. Go back to whoever is teaching you and go, hey, why am I not getting the same results as Jesus? Right?
And then tell you
and
just
that's
to
what
be,
you actually wanted. You didn't want to be atheist. You just wanted something that worked out.
Yeah. I guess I found that in myself.
Yes.
My 99%.
That's it.
What's that JC song? Got 99 problems, but my ego ain't one.
No, I don't know. That's a good one.
Wow. How are we on time? You're a busy man, I know.
I've got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So the things that I do, like I said, is very, very scientific. It's not based on good deeds or bad deeds, because, that's all, depending on emotion, depending on the country, depending on the culture, depending on whatever, those all change. You know what I mean? So those things are surface level, but what I do is always consistent. So it's like the morality and all that people like strive for. There's a higher level of morality, and I call that human morality, right? Where you treat everybody the same, right? You treat, and obviously you're men and women, so obviously you have to honor women in a certain way. You have to honor men in a certain way, because we're not all the same, right? And that's why we're men and women. But again, there's an honor system or a morality system that we all have to abide by. Because in religion, if like, they're a different religion, or they're a different color or a different creed or whatever, I'm going to treat them different. I mean, that's not really the best religious or best spiritual practices, right? If they're not having my faith, then they're off. It doesn't work out well.
No, it doesn't.
So.
But I guess, and I find the religion quite interesting, because at first religion interesting because I was so caught up in the fact that religion was nonsense, and now I found like a new curiosity as to the deeper levels, especially with Christianity and with the concept of Jesus, and the interesting aspects of how he is trying to say that everyone's welcome,
of course,
which I think is like, it's like you're saying the
you go to the original source.
You go to the source, right?
So many things happen to it
go
on
to
the way.
The original source. Just think those things were written thousands of years ago, and there's so many control sources. Religion means control, so it's like. But
also,
again, there's a lot of good stuff in religion. There's a lot of good stuff in what Jesus. In fact, a lot of the teachings that I understand at a scientific level is basically what he teaches, or what Buddha teaches, or what Muhammad teaches. They're really, really the same. But I just see it at a scientific level.
Yeah.
So,
and also think, if things go real awry and 2,000 years into the future,
of course,
we treat you as a sort of Jesus type person, and then everyone's measuring themselves. But that's how our life works.
Yeah,
it's how,
of course. But I would hope that we would. Well, even like Jesus's message would be that we're all the same. We all have the same ability.
Exactly.
So I hope I would be sending that message out. And that's actually my message, that we all have that power within us, that we all have like Jesus capabilities within us, right? And that's what I'm here to show.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, look, we all have this ability. Come on over. Let's play with it.
So just what is, like you said already now, but what is life to you? Like what's the meaning of it? What's the purpose for you?
For us, like a bigger picture, or just for
a bigger
me
picture.
personally?
Both maybe.
So the bigger picture, most people think, that life is here. We've come down to this world because we're sinned. We did some kind of sin, and we're supposed to prove ourselves, and then go back, and then somebody judges us, and then we either go. I don't understand that concept. I don't know who would have the time. It's just not like scientifically efficient, to do that. It just doesn't work out. And there's so many different, say, like variables to that, like, right?
Yeah. So I also think that's kind of mindset I think so many people have on a unconscious level. Like they don't even know they're thinking it.
Yeah. So your real reason why you're here is that, we're so, say, pure at, if you're 100% spirit, you're all abundant. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to really realize how abundant you are, you would have to create something that's reflective to see how abundant you are. Just like this world is duality. You know what I mean? You have dark, you have light, you have hot, you have cold. So what happens is that, so it's like, well, let's figure out, because, well, at that spirit level, and I've been there, it's just like all beauty, all grace, all the time, which is fantastic. But to ascend to higher levels, right, to meet like a higher level, what I call pure source, to help you understand where you are, and like then use it as a stepping stone to go higher, you would have to create, say, some sort of reflection point or some sort of opposite, let's say. And this is the reality of this world, some density. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So our only purpose here is to come into density, okay, and then realize who we are at 100% spirit level. So basically, again, like going back to religion, walking here on earth through our spiritual eyes, realizing our full potential of who we are in physical form. And that's really, it's so beautiful. I mean, connecting with somebody, connecting with a loved one, when you're feeling or, making love from a spiritual standpoint instead of the physical you go way beyond. And imagine the world if everybody was understanding that they're at 99%, right? That full potential in physical form. Look at what we could create.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it's really about. Basically, in religious terms, heaven on earth, that's what it's about. That's what they talk about. That's what we're here for. It's to understand how, basically, in science terms, how to understand space and time, right? And then play with it, and then awaken to it. Because what happens is that for us to be at physical form here, we had to get dumbed down really a lot. We had to get dumbed down. So we're resonating at a really high frequency that can't create density. That makes sense? So we resonate at a slower and slower frequency to create density. And then we have to forget a lot of the things that we are.
Yeah.
We have to resonate at a slower frequency or amplitude, right, to create heaviness. Otherwise, we can't exist in this realm.
No. This is the place of form.
Yeah. So how do we take that knowledge that we are at the higher frequencies and then bring it down to a lower frequency where we can still exist? Or maybe resonate at higher frequency and still create the density so we can feel, right? Yeah. And have density here. That's our objective. But nobody really cares about that. They want to save the whales. They want to do good. They want to get points.
Yeah.
They want to suffer to help other people because then they're going to go to heaven. And it doesn't work.
Like I always say,
thinking of it.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself.
Exactly.
Make that change.
Yeah. Take a look at your deeper self.
Take a look. I should actually go into the song now that take a look at.
I would say
self.
notice what you notice, like what you're saying, and then start noticing the details of what you notice, and then once you start to notice the details, the real you starts coming out, not the residual you of your experiences. The aches and pains, the tragedies of your family, all that. That's what we're seeing in ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But when you start to see the patterns or the deeper self, the details, you get to see the beauty of who you are, and you get to heal not only yourself but your family, your loved ones, and they awaken, they heal, and that's how we change the world. So
that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
People listening to this will actually feel frequencies, because that's the way I work. I just help you resonate at a higher frequency, and then you resonate at a higher frequency. So people listening to this will actually feel different. So,
this is also a free podcast, so yeah.